Hey everyone! In contrast to February, March has been a tremendous month for my trading, making me a total of 4,777 USDT. And April was not too bad either at almost 2,600. May so far has been not too exciting, and we'll get to it and show me the money just a bit later. All of it, and I really mean all of it, was done by my expanded high Bitcoin shots algorithms. With flat algos, not so much. Having struggled for a while, I eventually completely abandoned them. With a very decent P&L in my pocket, I allowed myself to step back a little bit and slowly start from scratch on something very different. You may have guessed it by the hint in my previous video. So, out of interest, out of necessity, and by popular demand, I'm going into depth shots. On the surface, it seems like it should be a smooth transition from regular shots. The basic idea is the same, taking advantage of very rapid changes in price to quickly open a position and close it at a profit immediately on the rollback. However, there is more to it than meets the eye. I'll do my best not to turn this into some kind of tutorial for two reasons. First, that's not really the purpose of my channel, and secondly, I feel like a total beginner again, still just treading the waters. What is it exactly that makes it so different, if not confusing at first? For starters, in depth shots, there is no such thing as a set distance for your orders. The distance is variable, depending on the state of the order book. And to define the allowable boundaries for, and the sensitivity of this variability, Moontrader uses something that I could only call a dual buffer or a two-component buffer. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I find it much harder to understand than the simple percentage buffer in regular shots. More on that in a little bit. Secondly, there is no such thing as trace data or ticker price to be found anywhere in the algo parameters. The data source is completely different. It is the state of the order book. So, from what I understand, potentially the order may move even if the price itself is stable because the order book density has changed. And the reverse may be true as well. Even if the price moves, the order may stay put because the state of the order book remains within the specified buffer parameters. So immediately there are several more variables to keep track of, and getting a clear mental picture of what's happening still seems like a challenge to me. So I'm taking a slightly different approach this time around. Instead of waiting and researching until everything sits right in my head, well, after all, I've spent months on emulation of regular shots before I started placing real orders of any significance. So instead, I'm going with real orders right off the bat to learn by doing. I'll share only my observations so far, since I have no clear solutions to anything quite yet. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. I'll skip a lot of what is similar to regular shots and go for the differences. Firstly, there is coin selection. If with regular shots we are trying to make an educated guess as to what the distance of the shot might be, here we are guessing what the instantaneous trading volume might be that will cause a shot of a certain magnitude to happen. There are probably more refined ways of selecting coins, but for my first tryouts I've chosen about 70 high-density heavy coins and set them to 7 active markets, skipping the first 3. There is no deep reasoning behind this, it's just a starting point. Bitcoin Delta was set to flat. For the main algo parameters, I went with 500K as the asset volume. And for the volume buffer, I went with 100K as a nice round number. Now for the maximum and minimum distance, I just took a guess and set the minimum at 0.7 and the maximum way up high at 6%. A shot of 6% on such heavy coins seems quite unlikely, but why not? As for the minimum and maximum buffer, I thought about it this way. What would be a good buffer for a regular shot at 0.7% and also at 6%? So I went with 0.2 and 0.8 respectively. To try and understand how this dual buffer works, I tried using the algorithm profiling feature, which used to be called Debug Mode. You turn it on like this, and it shows you additional info on the graph, such as buffer lines and your filter values. I'm used to this mode with regular shots where the buffer lines hover around the price. But here they hover around your order instead. I'm still a bit baffled at exactly how this works. I'll just keep watching this like some weird David Lynch movie and hopefully get it at some point. The order size was real at 50 USDT for starters. I didn't know at all what to expect. There are some cool and different things about the take profit setup. You can set it either as a fixed value, same as with regular shots, or as a variable value depending on the actual distance where the position was opened. Naturally, I did not miss the opportunity to make a fool out of myself at first by setting the depth take profit value to 0.5. In my head, that meant half of the shot size, even though the percentage symbol was staring me right in the face. So my first two take profits actually resulted in losses due to fees. Of course they would. Let's say the size of the shot was 1%, and then a 0.5% take off of 1% shot is literally smaller than the fee rate. Here you can see Moontrader did exactly what I asked of it. Lesson learned. So after these first two trades, I set the depth take profit to a generous 50%. I spent so much mental effort on the algo settings that I almost thoughtlessly set the stop loss at 1% with no trailing. Such a large take profit and such a large stop loss value did not pan out so well initially, so I had to drop both of them down. As you can quickly see from the reports here, the immediate results were not so great. We'll check out exactly what this looked like and what I tried to do to fix it in the next video. Now for Show Me the Money, today we haven't got so much to tell. Since last time, I'm only up 478 USDT, of which 242 came in May. Yeah, May has been pretty boring so far, and I'm happy to get at least something. There have been very few trades. And maybe that's good, it leaves me time and incentive to keep trying new things. I don't actually know if we necessarily learned anything special today. I'm still learning by doing, and maybe that's the lesson. It's pretty interesting to dive into something different for a change. And I will see you next time for more depth shots. Keep on trading.